this video, I'm going to use Excel's Power Query to clean this data and create a pivot table and pivot chart. The data is in two different sheets. So in the first sheet, we have data from the first half of the year till June 2023. And in the second sheet, we have the second half data from July to December 2023. So click on any cell and convert this to a table. So click on Format as Table, and your table has headers. So my table has headers. Now we got this data in a table. You name the table as 2023 H1. Now once you are here, go to Data, Get Data from Table or Range. You can see Get Data from File from many platforms here. For now, I'm getting the data from Table or Range. So I'll click that. The Power Query editor opens, and you could see the name of the query, sales 2023 H1. You could see the data here, and here we could see the applied steps. Whatever steps we are doing here, you could get it reflected here in this pane. So first, what I want to do is I want to split the data based on the semicolon in between. So after the date, there is semicolon and there is a number, and that after that there is semicolon and we have a percentage, semicolon, we have the name of a person. So I'll go to Home, Split Column by Delimiter. The delimiter here is a semicolon. You could use custom delimiters as well. I'll use a semicolon here, and I want it to get it performed for each occurrence of the delimiter. It means there are 3 delimiters, so every delimiter will be separated. Click OK. Now you could see the data getting separated based on the delimiter. And if you see here, Power Query is smart enough to change the data type as well. Now this data type is date. Power Query automatically changes. This data is converted to a number. You could change it to a decimal. You could see whatever change I'm doing here, it is getting reflected here. And then you could see the percentage here, the data format is on point 2, and here the data format is in text. If you hover onto the green bar below each column, you could see how the data is. For example, in this column, you could see there are 0 errors, there are 46 rows, there are 0 errors and 0 empty rows. So if the green bar is full, that means the data is complete. I mean, there are no errors in the data. You could replace the column names here, rename it as date. You could rename this as amount. You could rename this as percentage commission, and you could rename this as sales representative name. So once the data is transformed, you could go to close and load and click on close and load to. You could select where you want it to be pasted. I want it in the same sheet, and I want it in this cell onwards, and click OK. Now you could see this data getting transformed into this data by using Power Queries. You could see the connections here. 46 rows are loaded here. Now from this, we could create a pivot table. Click on any cell here, summarize with a pivot table. It is selecting the range as sales 2023 H1. I want it in the same worksheet. I want the pivot table here. Click OK. Now you got the pivot table here. You could drag the sales representative name to the rows and amount of values, sum of amount. You could change the number format to currency. I don't want any decimals. So you could see that you could summarize this data using the pivot table here. You could name the pivot table H1 data. You could create a pivot chart as well. I'll hide all the field buttons and I will delete that. Could sort it from smallest to largest and change some colors. Now here comes the beauty of Power Query. You can just go here, copy this data and paste it below this data. And click on this table which we derived from Power Query, right click and refresh. You could see this data getting reflected here. There is no need to do it again, it's getting automated. Now you could even refresh the pivot table analyze, refresh. Now you could see the data has changed because the data got updated. Now we create another pivot table and drag the date to columns. I'm keeping only the month and drag amount to values again. Now we could see data of each sales representative for each month in this pivot table. So this is how we could use Power Query to clean the data and automate updating the data and pivot charts.